So thank you for being here for us. And
We're always here. Thank you for being aware that we're here.
Okay, and I'll speak for us and we. And what?
That was a big conversation we just had.
Yeah.
Because we're always here, whether Esther represents us with an open valve and a flowing word or not. We're always here for every one of you. It just depends on how close to the frequency you are, so you're getting the message. Yeah.
Okay, so where I'm struggling, what I came here to
Struggling is
share,
not a very good word, is it?
I know, so I used it because it's there in my space. And
use a different word.
Okay.
In other words, why stay there in a struggling word when you can say it so much better?
True. Okay.
In other words, do you want to talk about the struggle that you're overcoming, or do you want to talk about the overcoming? Just try to say it as good as you can.
I see.
Because we could talk about the struggle. Everyone would relate to it. I think we're nitpicking, but we are not. You got to get the struggle out of your vocabulary and out of your vibration. The best way to begin it is by beginning it. Or at least not continuing it. Sorry you came now, aren't you? We said, we are ready to talk with you about anything that you want to talk about. Who should we beat up on first?
Yeah. I raised my hand right there. Let's struggle. So, yeah, and where they put me against the wall. I feel like the speech gets...
That's not a very good word either.
I know.
What feels better to you? Struggle or question?
Question.
What feels better to you? Interested in understanding something or trying to overcome something I don't understand?
Interested.
Can you hear the difference?
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's easy. It's so much easier. So we will let you speak now.
Okay. There is an experience that I'm having that when I am in a state of being open and self-expressed,
see
vulnerable,
how deliberate he is?
And
see how deliberate he is?
I am allowing people to contribute to me or be a contribution to others. Sometimes I feel that I lose my way in the material manifestation of myself, and that I neglect protecting myself, or people take advantage of that sense of openness or that sense of generosity. And so what happens is I'll find myself retreating back into the sort of protective state.
But you see, what's happening right now is, so maybe that happened, and certainly it has. Everyone's had that experience. But as you talk about it, you just keep the frequency of that alive. You're practicing that experience. And because you're practicing that experience, you keep attracting that experience, which then makes you think that you have to protect yourself or guard yourself, but you can't. It's like you call it and then you try to keep it away, and you call it and you try to keep it away, and you call it and you try to keep it away. So what we were playing with you just now about is just don't call it quite so much. Don't practice calling it through remembering it or through verbalizing it. When you talk about experiences that you've lived that were unpleasant and that you don't want to live again,
correct,
you're saying, universe, bring me more of this that I do not want. And then when you see it coming, you say, no. And then you talk about it more and you attract it more, and then you say, no. So do you realize that if you just wouldn't summon it, you wouldn't have to say no to it? Because nothing's coming to you that you're not summoning. There's no assertion in this attraction-based universe. Nobody's after you. Nobody's trying to take advantage of you.
Right.
You've just got I'm to be taken advantage of vibration going on, and compliant people are cooperating with your vibration.
I understand that. Okay, so people are complying with the vibration.
Next time it happens, you just say, thank you for giving me exactly what I'm asking for and making me realize how much I don't want that. I'm going to notice it as least I can and talk about it as least I can, so that I can allow the path of least resistance to deliver to me what I really want.
Thank you for giving me what I asked for. That communicated to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
So then this step 2 of this, and then I'd like someone else to get up here and have the opportunity to share, is I find myself in this constant struggle with the people that I invite into my energy to want to help and contribute to them, or feel frustrated that I want to, and probably a lot of you feel this way because you're here, where you see people suffering unnecessarily and you really want to be a contribution to them.
We see you suffering unnecessarily.
I'm suffering. I used the word again. Oh, I know.
It's all right. It's all right because you are where you are. And
so I'm attracting that. I'm inviting all that around me.
Here's the big picture in all of this.
Yes,
certainly, you want to be of value to other people. And certainly, if someone is suffering, you want to do what you can do to relieve their suffering. But commiserating with suffering only encourages suffering.
Okay.
And so, what true compassion is, what true standing in the vibration of source and being of benefit to someone is being in such a stable place of knowing that well-being is the permeating environment, that well-being is not just trying to make its way into your experience, but into theirs too. And that if it were not for the habits, some of which you've demonstrated here, that are causing you to have resistance that prevents you from receiving the well-being that's there. In other words, everything that we're teaching is about softening your own patterns of resistance in order to let the well-be in. And this is the thing that's hard for you to hear, because most humans, and you demonstrated it here a bit, you have a picture that there's bad stuff trying to get in and I've got to protect myself from it, when the opposite is true. There's only good stuff trying to get in and your guardedness isn't letting it in, and the absence of the good stuff makes you experience the bad stuff, and you're trying to keep the... You see how screwy it is?
Yeah.
Did you just get that?
Yeah, I did.
Only well-being is wanting into your experience. The path of least resistance will allow it in. Now we know, if you're standing in a place where you've experienced or are experiencing something unwanted, these words are not welcome to you right now. But it is our promise to you that the well-being is dominant. And to the degree that you relax and allow it to flow, it will demonstrate itself to you to the degree that you are ready to allow it to demonstrate itself. And that there is no bad stuff asserting itself into your experience. It's only coming by your invitation. But the reason that it feels like somebody else is doing it to you is because you do not believe, and we know too, that you would deliberately do unkind things to yourself or to anyone else. In other words, you didn't say, I think I'll screw up my life today by focusing on the struggle and hardship that I've been living and that others have been living too. That was not the intention, the deliberate intention that you started out with. And yet there is a vibrational pattern that is sort of like that.
Thank you.
If you saw someone in the street bleeding, we believe that you would stop and try to help. If you saw someone fall down, we believe you'd try to help them up. But when you see people belligerent or angry or attacking, you don't want to help them, you want to lock them up. And we want you to understand that they're asking, that their need or their desire is the same. In other words, you really do want to help them, but you can't help them with energy that you don't have. So if someone is defensive or angry or bullying or inappropriate in some way, and you get your guard up to try to protect yourself from that, now you are in the identical vibration that they are, and you have nothing to give them, you see.
Yes.
That's why we're saying, you got to practice this path of allowing your clarity, your alignment, before you have anything to give to anyone else.
Got it.
All right, so now let's just pretend that you just got here, and we don't want you to guard your words because your words don't matter. In other words, we can talk to you all day.
Okay.
Struggle's not a good word. This isn't a good word. This isn't a good word. The universe isn't listening to your words anyway. The universe is responding to the way you feel. Your words often reflect the way you feel, and that's why we're talking about the words that you're using.
Okay.
But it's how you feel that matters. So now let's just start over, because you received most of what we said just now. And you're clear about who you are. You're a teacher in the world. You're an uplifter in the world. You're holding your own pretty well. You want to be of value to others. You're like so many of the teachers in this room. You don't believe you can teach it if you're not fully living it. And we do not believe that you have to fully demonstrate everything before you can teach it. You just have to be allowing it in the moment. So now say to us what you intended to find out about when you raised your hand and wanted to come up here. What is the essence of what you're looking for?
The essence of what I'm looking for is, well, being intentional by getting up here, because what I wanted when I came here was to be up here with you. So I was in action about that. Like, I'm going to get up and be intentional about that. If that's what I want, do that. because I've been living suppressed.
Why?
Because I feel like I want to not live in the experience of being suppressed.
So I want demonstration of my power. I want demonstration of my appropriateness. I want demonstration. I want the universe to yield to me what I've come to get.
Correct.
That's accurate.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
And so, even though you had a fair amount, a substantial amount, a whole bunch of resistance.
I had a bunch. I wasn't going to come up.
Within your vibration, your desire was dominant enough that the path of least resistance allowed you this experience. You getting what we're talking about? The path of least resistance got him into the chair. Now, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing.
I thought about it a lot.
Because we tormented you by pointing out pockets of resistance that you had going on. But what we want you to feel from this is that it's always working out for you. It just could be so much easier.
Right.
And even though your determination was strong, you raised your hand, we felt you clearly, we knew that the vibration of your desire was strong enough that you could withstand these beginning conversations that we wanted everybody to be in on. We saw it as co-creating at its best because you help us to say the things that we're wanting to say to all of you. But the most significant thing that we want to come out of this gathering is that you demonstrated getting something you want in a way that was a rougher ride than it needed to be.
Okay.
And that if you, and this is the thing that by the end of the day, we believe that you will be able to hear clearly. The action part of your life, as it unfolds, the words you say and hear, the people you rendezvous with, the experiences that you have, are about the vibrational frequency you had going on before you went there and did that. Much more than they are about what you're doing after you get there. In other words, you really didn't stand a chance with us because your vibration was already where it was, and there was an inevitable unfolding that was going to take place, and there wasn't anything that you were going to do in the moment that was going to change it that much. It's what you're doing in a pre-paving sense. It's how much you're meditating. It's how much you're basking. It's how much deep breathing you're doing. It's how much appreciating of life you're doing. It's how many walks you're taking. It's how often you're petting your cat. It's how much you're practicing the vibration of well-being. It's all that stuff that you're doing before you're engaging that is responsible for what happens after you engage, because you cannot control your thoughts outside the vibrational momentum that you've got going. You see what we're getting at? And so often you try to control it with guardedness or with words or with action instead of having practiced a vibration that just puts you in the place that you are the receiver of it. Esther and Barbara and Mark left the gathering last week from Orlando. They flew in on Friday. The seminar was on Saturday morning, and shortly after, they were on their way to the airport. And so they were all flying high, still riding the current of what had happened in the gathering. And Esther, as she explains to people after a seminar, she always says, I feel obnoxious, in the sense that she feels all-powerful. And so they arrived at the airport and came to face the largest mass of humanity that they had seen in an airport. The security line was so long and so big, hard to even take it all in. There was so much, and they were not in a big hurry, but it looked like a daunting experience that they were going to make their way through. And they were playful with each other and having a good time. And Esther said lightly, someone needs to show us where the priority lane is, because it wasn't obvious. And the words were out of her mouth, and a person suddenly appeared before her. It really was as if he dropped from the ceiling.
No.
And he said to them, are you crew? And Esther thought it was funny because there was nothing crew looking about any of them. She said, no, we're just looking for the priority lane. And he said, it's down there. It's down there. You can't see it from here, but it's the last one, way down on the end. And she thought that was really fun. Ask and it's given. In other words, ask and it's given now, not a second later, now. He did. He just appeared. And so they're laughing. And Mark said something like, you sort of kind of had to be there for that. In other words, you all have those experiences, but when you have an experience like that, knowing what you know, then it's sort of that feeling of invincibility, that feeling of it always working out, that feeling of path of least resistance is just really active within you.